Hello people, Nico here. Late last week I was in a hangout which I initially entered because I wanted to address some of the issues being discussed, and later on a guy named Steve joined in and was basically advertising as to the return to traditionalist gender roles for men and women. The reason as to why that is because he explained to me that MGTOW as a phenomenon is the result of a reactionary movement due to a lack of women in the dating pool. Now, I don't know how much of that is true, and perhaps he's completely right on this, that perhaps the lack of women may have contributed, but of course, as we all know, MGTOW is not only the result of the lack of women in the dating scene. I will elaborate a bit more on this later on. Then he moved on to say that perhaps a strong leader, like Vladimir Putin, could pass a law where all women could be forced to be married to men, and that would bring back prosperity and peace. I'm going to try and address most of the points that this man made and my opinion on the matter, and also what my opinion means for my understanding of MGTOW. First of all, I want you guys, the ones that haven't watched it, to watch the video, The Nature of Gender Relations. The video will be shown right now on your screens, and then just come back and continue with this video. Many of the concepts I will discuss now come and stem from that video that I did back then. Now, let's just start with the video. A reduction in the dating scene, according to Steve, occurred where in the 1980s women started dating older men who were well off and were divorcing their wives, which of course led to a reduction of available women in the dating scene. Of course, I'm not 100% sure how much of that is true because this particularly talks about an event that happened in the United States, but it seems to be that following that time the PUA community sprung up, then the MRA, and following that MGTOW. However, MGTOW as a reactionary movement did not come about because of the reduction of women in the dating scene. When MGTOW came forward, there was this belief that MGTOW was created by men who simply couldn't get laid, and that was their reaction to create this mental schema that allows them to live a life without women. And that, of course, is not the case. MGTOW did indeed attract people in the community from multiple areas, including the TFL community, where this misconception may have stemmed from, but this is not the reason why the MGTOW ideology was created. The red pill and the expose it brought about on female nature, along with the dating scene as perhaps could have been the case back then, along with the way that women behaved in general, made many men decide that these women are not suitable to be wives, girlfriends, or partners. That led to a wider realization that the system as it exists, even the traditionalist one, this idealistic system of monogamous bliss, is exploitative on the man. Additionally, what was further observed was that feminism, something that was originally recognized by the MRA as affecting public opinion, changing laws, and creating a misandric system for men, was not to blame directly. MGTOW realized that any political movement has no power unless it has people behind it, and in this situation, the people that were supporting and pushing this agenda for feminism were women themselves. When all these things fell into place, then the question simply was, how can a man live free and peacefully away from all the drama that the association with women can bring to his life? That's what MGTOW is all about. MGTOW is about unraveling the realities that we speak of and explaining to men what you can do in order to live a life free away from as much danger as you can. I mean, for me, it goes even further. Even if I was to believe I could potentially make a marriage work for me, which I don't, I would still not want to participate in a system that exploits, hurts, and capitalizes on men in general. For some of us, standing our ground firm is a point of principle at this point as well. The realities that every man faces and deals with cannot even be imagined by women. In general, men have to compete with every man around them in order to gain reproductive access. The demands of females are increasing because they're free to work and they make their own money, something that I have no problem with. But of course, this creates a decrease in the number of suitable male partners due to hypergamy, this innate instinct for a woman in order to look for a partner above her social standing. The number of suitable partners for women seems to be decreasing all the time due to this. Considering this, along with the tragic realities faced by men who get utilized by women, where they're used as dildos or sperm donors, and are then discarded along with the increasingly exploitative and manipulative methods women use in order to capitalize on some of the men who are more well off, men end up checking out from the dating scene all the time. Even rich and very well off men come face to face with these realities. The thing is, if you were not born rich and you climbed your way to the top or to some sort of a good job, you have seen how women behaved before and how they behave towards you after you're successful. You have seen female reality shown to you bare, and you cannot unsee what you have already seen. From the point of view of society, this is the worst thing that it could have possibly happened. The red pill, the exposure to the realities and the actions of women take away the spell of the nurturing and caring partner. The attraction is present, but the underlying matrix of their instincts and wants is shown to the man. It cannot be escaped and it cannot be unseen. These realities bring forward a new breed of man, a man who is unwilling to settle down, a man who is willing to check himself out completely from relationships, a man who is generally unwilling to believe the lies and the rationalizations that every woman might serve him to explain her past behaviors, or believes that this woman that he's dating is perhaps the exception. The men are awakened and they're checking themselves out from society, from women, and from the dating pool. Unlike the feminist dogma or the criticism that we receive from MRAs, AVFM, and other sorts of retards, if you meet MGTOW in the real world, we're talking about high-achieving men. Many of these men are really good looking as well. They are what females would call a catch, but they don't care to endorse female biology anymore. Every now and then, we see people such as Steve, who try to convince men that returning back to traditionalism and the general plantation, as we term it in MGTOW, to be a good thing, as long as we keep our women in check and in line. But why would a man that has been awakened to this reality serve the feminine? Why would a man work his life off, enjoy less, live a lot less in order to serve a woman or a child? I can wrap my head around the child, as it will be at least 50% mine, but I cannot wrap my head around the woman thing. Marriage is not a partnership, and it was never a partnership. We need to remember that. Going back to past realities may save civilization, may save society, may keep enough men working their asses off in order to support a system and maintain an economy in order to prevent a collapse. But why do that? Why serve? Why work above and beyond your abilities? Especially when the work and the extra hours that you put in support a system and a government that has exploited your brothers, fathers, and grandfathers. Why do that? Why commit to returning to a marriage system when you understand that even if you are the exception, this system has ruined the lives of millions of men? It has caused hundreds of thousands of them to kill themselves. Why sign up from birth to fight wars that you do not believe in order to protect people that are ready to sacrifice you? Why do that? For the ultimate survival of my country, of my species, of my race? None of these things have ever done anything good for me and will never do anything good for any man. I will finish this video by asking yourselves the following question. If you were the last man on the planet with the most attractive and compliant woman next to you, would you procreate in order to save the species? Because I know the answer for me. I would let the human race die with me and let that woman fight for herself. We do not forgive and we do not forget the thousands that died and the millions that suffer at the hands of an exploitative system, and as MGTOW, we should never return to an adjusted and slightly improved system just to help this system again. Fuck that. All we're gonna do is enjoy ourselves and try to be as safe as possible. That's all I had to say. Take care, brothers.